Okay, let's see. I want to get going because we don't have enough time. We never have enough time, right? So we're going to be working on an activity today that, what's going to happen is that we probably won't even end up reading our book, our chapter today, but we're going to be doing a lot of activities before we read because we can find out a lot of information from any textbook that you have. So you guys have textbooks for humanities and you have textbooks for science, right? And you...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have a science book. So you can use a lot of the structure of the text to find out a lot of information before you read, which makes it a lot easier to understand what's in the text. Do you ever have that where you have to read a section and then answer questions based on what was there? That's a pretty common thing that you have to do. And there are some tricks that you can use before you even read that can make it go a lot faster, and it will improve your comprehension, which is what we want, right? Okay, so what we're going to work on today is called predicting and previewing text, and we're going to do this activity where we're going to become thieves, okay? But first I want, how many of you, or which one of you, do you ever get a present? And when you get the present, you kind of shake it, or you like kind of put it on the side and go like this, and you can sort of make predictions about what's in there? You ever do that? So we're going to be doing the same thing. So if I were making predictions about what's in this bag, shake it a little bit. I don't know, it's pretty light, so I doubt it's a car or a television, or, it's pretty small. Might be food, but I don't really smell anything. It smells kind of like perfume. What do you think? What could be in there?
Candy.
Could be candy? Why do you think candy?
Because it's light.
Because it's light? Yeah, that's good. That's kind of what you already know about candies, that it's pretty light.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's in there?
I was thinking the same thing.
You were thinking candy too? Is that because you're hungry or just because you think maybe it's candy? Okay. Well, we'll see at the end. But that's basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using sort of what we already know. So you guys know that candy is light, and you know that candy is small, so it could fit in this bag. But we're going to be doing the same thing when we read. We're going to be using what the text tells us, and we'll make some predictions based on what's already there. Okay? So we'll walk through this together. This is called Thieves, and we're going to be using it to look at chapter 5, lesson 5, on page 48. So you can open up to 48. Okay, so we're going to walk through this together. On the second page, there's a worksheet where we're going to fill it out, okay? So the first thing that we're going to look at is T for title. So what is the title of our passage?
How fast is too
How fast is too fast? So we can write that down, right? Where it says T, title. So how fast is too fast? So you can write it right here. For T for title. So we know what the title is, and then we can go back to our front page and ask some questions about the topic. Okay. So what do we already know about this? Does this title tell us anything? Not really, right? It just says how fast is too fast. It doesn't say something like the life of a dog, which we would probably know a lot more. So it's not an exact title. We might know that we can predict what might be in the text based on our title. What do you think this is going to be about? Think it's about people going slow? No? What do you think it's about? Yeah, so maybe something about how dangerous it is to go fast, because it's saying how fast is too fast, which makes me think maybe we shouldn't go too fast. So I might write that down too, where it says T. I might say, this is probably about not going too fast, okay? So there's not a lot that we can get from the rest of this title, right? Because it doesn't tell us a whole bunch. So then we can go to the next one, which is headings. You guys know what a heading is? A heading, this textbook doesn't have headings, unfortunately, but a lot of textbooks do, where they have, that'll say whatever area it is that you're working on. So next time we do this, I'll bring a textbook that has an actual heading. So we can skip the heading part, okay? And then we can go to the introduction. So in this book, the way that it's organized is there aren't introductions, but that very first paragraph tells us a lot about what the chapter is going to be about, okay? So is there an opening paragraph? What is the opening paragraph? Can you see? The opening paragraph is the very first paragraph. So if we read the very first paragraph, does it introduce the chapter? Uh-oh. Are they going to be doing a presentation here? Do you know? Okay. If we have to move, guys, we'll move. But right now, hopefully they'll be quiet. Yeah. If they're going to be doing a presentation, we'll move. But right now, let's just... So what we're doing is we're looking at the very first paragraph, and we're reading that, and we're seeing if it tells us anything about what the rest of it's going to be about. So, do you guys want to read together? I'll start. The signs are there. In big bright letters, they warn everyone. Do not ride if you have a weak heart. Do not ride if you have a bad neck. Do not ride if you have back problems. The list goes on and on. Still people line up to get on these roller coaster rides. They can't wait to be scared half to death. Okay, that tells me a lot. What's it going to be about?
Roller coasters.
Roller coaster rides, right? Slow roller coaster rides?
Yeah.
What kind? Fast roller coaster rides. So I would write that under the I, the introduction, I's for introduction, and I would write roller coaster rides. And maybe next to it I would write fast. So I already know, just based on what we've just done, which is pretty simple, we read the title. There weren't any headings, so we couldn't look at those. And then we looked at the very first paragraph, and we already know that it's going to be about fast roller coaster rides. Does that make sense? Okay. So we know the topic, and we know a little bit about it already. And we haven't even read hardly any of the passage yet. Okay. So what's next on our thieves list? What's next? We did the T and the H and the I.
The left and E.
What does E stand for? If we look on the next page, what does the E stand for?
Every first sentence.
Every first sentence in a paragraph. So what do we need to do? We should read every first sentence in the paragraph and see if it tells us more about what the chapter is about. So let's take turns doing that. So I read the first one, which was the signs are there. Sandra, will you read the first sentence in the second paragraph? Yeah.
Every year, roller coasters seem to get higher and go faster.
Okay. So every year, roller coasters seem to get higher and go faster. That tells us a lot. Okay, Maria, can you read the next one?
But some people are not so sure the new coasters are just cool and amazing.
Okay. So maybe they're not all that cool and amazing. Maybe it's not that fun to go fast. Let's read the next one. Can you read this one right here?
What caused the blood?
What caused the blood clots? What is that about? What do you think that's about? Where did the blood clots come from? Maybe from being on a really fast roller coaster? Okay, so that's telling us a little bit more, maybe about how dangerous roller coasters are. Good, okay. Can you read the next paragraph, the first sentence of the next paragraph?
The second woman was not so happy.
What do you think, Maria? What do you think happened to her?
How it died.
She probably died. Sounds like something bad happened to her on the roller coaster. Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting scared to ride the roller coaster now. Okay, next one. Can you read this one? Where it says Edward Markey.
Edward Markey thinks it did.
Edward Markey thinks it did. Okay, that one doesn't tell us very much. We don't know who Edward Markey is, and we don't know what he thinks it did. Okay, so maybe not every first sentence will tell us something, but a lot of them do. Can you read the next one?
What does a roller coaster ride do to the body?
That's a great one. That tells me a lot. That's saying that this is going to be talking about what a fast roller coaster does to the body. Okay? So that one told us a lot. What about the next one?
In 2002, experts studied roller coasters and
And their G-forces. That is a measurement of physics. That's how fast something goes. Okay? That's probably not a word that we hear very often, right? So in 2002, experts studied roller coasters and their G-forces. So that just means how fast they go. So what have we learned so far just by reading the first paragraphs?
roller coasters can be dangerous.
That roller coasters can be dangerous. And what else did the text tell us? Did it tell us anything about how they might harm the body? A little bit about that? Okay, so we could write that down on our E for every first sentence. So far we know what Maria said, that roller coasters can be dangerous. Okay, that's a lot quieter. So roller coasters can be dangerous is what I'm writing, and then I'm going to write they can be bad for the body. Okay? Because that is what the text told us so far. So we're not really making anything up. We're just reading the first sentences and kind of figuring out the information that's there. Okay. Because we don't have a lot of time, we're going to skip reading the rest of the first sentences, and we're going to move on to the V. Okay? So the V in this, thieves, is visuals and vocabulary. What's a visual? Sandra, do you know what a visual is? Yeah, exactly, right. It's something that you see. Very good. Is there anything in here that we can see that might tell us something about what this is? The picture, right. Very good. And what is the picture of?
People on a roller coaster.
People on a roller coaster. I like it. It's very simple. So we can write that under V. But the visuals, they help us see. It includes a picture, and the picture helps us understand what's in the chapter. Okay? So the picture of a roller coaster is what I'm going to write. Picture of roller coaster. And you're right, Maria, there are people on the roller coaster. People riding it. Good. Okay, what's our next letter?
E.
E. What does E stand for if we look back on our sheet?
End of chapter questions.
Right, the end of the chapter questions. You guys remember, maybe it was our first lesson or our second lesson, we talked about reading the questions first. Do you remember that? And what does that help us do?
Think about what we need to find in the paragraphs.
Exactly. Think about what you need to find in the paragraphs. And that's what this E is about. We don't have time right now to read all of the questions, but you're exactly right. reading the questions before